Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Show. Today we're going to continue working on Chapter 4, Section 3. So label your notes 4-3. Our objective today is to determine whether lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither, and write equations of parallel lines and perpendicular lines. All right, so last time we met we did 7 examples, okay? And now we're going to start with a number 1, so I want you to put a number 1 in your notebook and put y equals 3x minus 2 and 3x plus y equals 1. So here are our 2 equations, and the directions want to know, are they parallel lines, perpendicular lines, or neither? So what we have to remember from last time is parallel lines have slopes that are the same. Perpendicular lines have slopes that are opposite reciprocals, right? So what I need to do on number 1 is figure out the slope of each line. So if I look at the first equation, this is in the form y equals mx plus b. What would the slope of this line be? 3, right? So I already know the slope of that line is 3 because it says 3x. If you look at the second equation, it's not in slope-intercept form. So I have to solve it for y. Yes. So how would I solve the second equation for y? I would subtract 3x, right? So if I subtract 3x, I'll get y equals negative 3x plus 1. What's the slope of this equation? Negative 3, right? So now my question is, are the slopes the same? No, one's a 3 and one's a negative 3, so they're not parallel. Are the slopes opposite reciprocals? Well, they're opposites, but they're not reciprocals, because the opposite reciprocal of 3 would be a negative 1/3. Okay? It's not a reciprocal. Reciprocal is what you get when you flip it over. So these would be neither. They're neither parallel nor perpendicular, because the slopes are not the same and they're not opposite reciprocals. Okay, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to have you try 2 and 3 on your own. When you get done with 2 and 3, you're going to play the video. So go ahead and pause now. Try 2 and 3. Your answer is either parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Pause now. Okay, now that you're done, let's check. So on number 2, when you solve that equation for y, first you had to use the distributive property to get 2x minus 2, but then you had to add 2 to both sides. So did you guys get y equals 2x? That means your slope is 2. Then when you solve the second equation for y, you have to subtract x, divide by 2. Did you get a y equals negative 1/2 x minus 3? That means your slope is negative 1/2. Well, negative 1/2 and 2 are opposite reciprocals, so those are perpendicular. Check your number 3. Did you get the slope of the first one to be negative 1? When you solve the second equation for y, did you get a y equals x minus 4/3, which means your slope is 1. But negative 1 and 1 are opposite reciprocals, because if you want to make one a fraction, it's 1 over 1. When you take the reciprocal, you still get 1 over 1. And one's a positive and one's a negative. So did you get perpendicular for the second one? Okay. Now what I want you to do is put a number 8. I know the numbers aren't going in order, but that's okay. Math teachers sometimes have problems numbering. All right, so remember as we do these, perpendicular slopes, okay, perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocals as their slopes. All right, so number 8 says, write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form that is perpendicular. So they're giving me a point and they're giving me an equation. And I want to find the equation of a line that goes through the point 4, negative 1, and is perpendicular to the equation or line 7x minus 2y equals 3. So what we have to do first is solve this equation for y, okay? So make sure you have 4, -1 written down, 7x minus 2y equals 3 written down. Okay, we're going to take this equation and we're going to solve it for y. So our first step would be to subtract 7x. Be careful, I'll have a -2y here and then -7x plus 3. Then I divide by -2. So when I divide by -2, I should have a y equals, let's see, I've got a -7 over -2. That would be a positive 7/2. X, 3 over -2 would be a -3/2. I just need to know the slope here though. So the slope of this line is 7 over 2. But I want the equation of the line that's perpendicular. So I've got to find the opposite reciprocal of 7 over 2. That means take 7 over 2 and flip it over and make it 2 over 7 and make it negative. So when I find the equation of the new line, the slope needs to be -7 over 2. And what you do is you just write y equals mx plus b, and you plug in what you know. Well, I know a y value here is -1. I know I want my slope to be the opposite reciprocal, so -2/7, because the lines are parallel. I know an x value is 4 plus b. Okay? Now what I'm going to do, and I shouldn't have put those parentheses there. I'm not sure why I put parentheses there, but I should have done that, just like that. Now what I'm going to do is solve for b. So I'm going to take a -2/7 times 4, which would be -8/7 plus b, and I have a -1 here. And then I'm going to add 8/7 to both sides. So let's see, -1 plus 8/7. 8/7 is the same as 1 and 1/7. So -1 plus 1 and 1/7, that would be b plus 1/7. So my b is my y-intercept, and my slope I need to be -2/7. So the equation of the line would be y equals, what do I want my slope to be? -2/7 x. Okay, and what do I want my y-intercept to be? Plus 1/7. That would be the equation of the line that's perpendicular to this one and goes through this point for -1. Okay, let's do another one together and make sure we have this, and I'm going to have you try one on your own. Okay, so put number 9, put 2y plus 5x equals 2, and 0, 6. We want the equation of the line that's perpendicular. So our first job is to find what is the slope of this line. So we're going to have to solve it for y to figure out the slope of the line. So it's in y-intercept form or slope-intercept form. So the first step would be to take away 5x. So we have a 2y equals -5x plus 2. Then I need to divide by 2 to find the slope of this line. So it looks like my line is y equals -5x, and then I have a 2 over 2, which is 1. The slope of this line is -5/2. But since I want my new line to be perpendicular, I need to take the opposite reciprocal of -5/2, which would be 2/5. That means I want the slope of my new line to be 2/5. So I write y equals mx plus b, and I plug in what I know. Well, I do know a y value right here. This is xy. Y is 6. My slope I want to be 2/5. X is 0 plus b. Well, 2/5 times 0 is 0. 0 plus b is b. I'm going to get a b equals 6. So my equation of my new line, it's going to be perpendicular, is y equals, I want my slope to be 2/5. Okay, so 2/5 x, I want my y-intercept to be 6. So my equation is y equals 2/5 x plus 6. Okay, I think you're ready to try one. So you're going to do the same thing. Write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form that's perpendicular. Go ahead and pause the video now. Try this on your own. When you get done, hit play. Okay, now that you're done, let's check this. So when you solve the first equation for y, did you get a y equals 2/5 x minus 3/5? Which means your slope of your original equation is 2/5. Well, if you want the lines to be perpendicular, you want the opposite reciprocal slope. So now you want your slope to be a -5/2. See how I put -5/2 in for my slope? Okay, my x value is 4, my y value is 7. When you solve for b, did you get 17? Your equation should be y equals -5/2 x plus 17. If you didn't get b to be 17, pause the video and look back, see what happened. If you're good, let's keep going. All right, so now I want you just to watch this one. It says, write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form that is perpendicular. And they're giving me a graph and a point. So if I graph 9, -3, I would go right 9, down 3. And my TV drives me crazy when it jumps like that. Let's see if I can graph that point. So I'm going to go right 9, down 3. There we go. There's 9, -3. Okay, I want the equation of a line that goes through that point that's perpendicular to x equals 6. Well, x equals 6 would be where x is always 6, and y could be any number. So some of the points on the line x equals 6 would be 6, 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4. This would be the line x equals 6. This is where all the x values are 6. Well, I want the equation of the line that's perpendicular to it. That means they intersect and make what kind of angles? Right angles. Yeah, look, this is the line that's perpendicular, and it goes through the point 9, -3. But what's the equation of that line? Look, notice your y values are all the same. What is your y value every time? Of all those points on that line, y always equals -3. This would be your equation, because those two lines would intersect and make right angles. They're perpendicular, and it goes through the point 9, -3. Okay, so how do you feel today about writing equations of parallel and perpendicular lines? Okay, your assignment today is in Big Ideas. Go to 4-3. Have a good day, everybody.